are these people?
Anita Wood, thank you. A new monthly subscriber to INN newsletter. So all these people already have contributed and supported. The ways that you can do that if you're not already on that board, and we appreciate everyone that is and continue to be on that board and continue to support. Cash App, $ Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network. And then we've got the Substacks, INNnewsletter.com, IndieMediaToday.com, and our self-hosted website that has a Stripe plugin at IndieNewsNow.com. And then you go to the Keep the Media Free, and you can hook up a monthly or one-time contribution over there. And now we're going to talk about how badly the Trump administration is persecuting people. But they had a little bit of a setback in there.
At the Legion of Doom.
Basically, yeah. But they had a little setback this week to their persecution agenda, thankfully. All right. On Friday, a federal judge has ordered that Mahmoud Khalil, for the second week in a row, was to be released from ICE detention. Only this time they actually did it. Reminder that he has not been charged with a crime. Again, 104 days locked up, never charged with a crime. Other than a visa violation because they revoked his visa while he was already here and then swept him off the streets, put him into a car, shipped him down to Louisiana, and stuck him in a hole for 100 days. And wanted to bury him and have everybody forget about him and fought to keep him in prison without giving him a trial or any kind of due process. Free speech, journalism, and free speech are not a crime, as Proud Socialist, our friend, says over here. So I'm going to bring this is the actual news report from the Fox affiliate locally when he walked out of the detention facility.
All right, we're heading back over to the LaSalle Detention Center where Mahmoud Khalil is currently being released, and our Shaw Pryor is still on the scene with more.
Music.
I know, dude.
All right, here we are on the scene at the LaSalle Detention Center as Mahmoud Khalil is
fascinating footage there of a building.
Moment. It has been since March since Mahmoud Khalil was detained by ICE on the campus of Columbia University, and now he is finally getting released from the LaSalle Detention Center here in Jena. Mahmoud has missed many life events during this time, including the birth of his first child, and now he is getting ready to walk out of the LaSalle Detention Center for the first time on his path to return home to New York. Mahmoud Khalil was known.
The cameraman, this is so bad. Like, dude.
I know, dude.
Really?
Fucking move. Go
like,
around, bro.
Find him. Come on, move. Yeah, zoom out. Find
zoom out.
There they are.
Just hold on the sign, bro. Hold on the sign.
Wow.
For your
You're here on
your
the
hands
scene,
in the
but
shot.
not really seeing it. Your hands in the shot. Terrible, but yes, he got out. Free at last. Free at last. You know, he got out, and then he was able to fly home. So I wanted to point this out. I brought this from Left Voice, another Indie Media Award honoree. All right. Yeah, that after over 100 days in detention, Columbia University graduate and pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil has finally been released from federal custody on bail. Speaking to reporters after, he said, "No one is illegal. No human is illegal." Khalil's case as one of the first targets of Trump's attacks on freedom of speech galvanized widespread support, with millions rushing to his defense, including us. His freedom is an important victory for the movement for Palestine, as well as those who oppose the U.S.-Israeli genocide in Gaza, and it's a win for those who have been fighting to stop Trump's efforts to shred our most basic rights. Released on bail, Khalil still faces a legal battle ahead. It's essential that we continue to fight for the state to drop all charges against Khalil and all being attacked for standing with Palestine, like Ramasio Ozturk. Again, these people committed no crime. No crime. They were here legally. They had a green card or a visa. And then the state, the country decided, the State Department, to revoke that without telling them, and then swept them up and decided that they were now criminals because they were here illegally because that had been revoked without telling them. That it doesn't work that way. So shout out to, again, Indie Media Award honoree Decensored News, who got the footage through Megnon Bose over on Twitter of Mahmoud Khalil arriving.
Also, good on you for sourcing that. Good on you, Decensored News, for sourcing that.
He did at Newark Airport.
Very respectable.
Right. They knew that after more than 3 months, they can breathe a sigh of relief and know that he's on his way home to me and Dean, their son, who never should have been separated from his father. Yes, he not only missed the birth of his son, he missed his first Father's Day, which to me as a father, just that sucks. That's shit. And they'll have another, they'll make up for it, but whatever. You can't make up for it. You don't get that back. So this 41 seconds, notice if you'll see a figure who does not belong there whatsoever throughout this footage. Woo, yeah.
Woo!
Wait, who's walking next to the stroller? Now that's his wife in a headscarf. Noor. Who's in that dark suit? Anybody know? Anybody recognize her?
Oh God.
There's always the macro and then there's the micro.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez managed to find a way to show up at this. Now, some people said that she's his congresswoman. I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure that Columbia University isn't part of New York 14. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's not. That's in Washington Heights. She's oversees the Bronx and Queens. I know what New York 14 is. I actually scouted that zip code by zip code. Way back in 2018,
Jesus
actually.
Christ.
I researched New York 14 before she was the candidate for Justice Democrats, funny enough. So I know she's not his congressperson. She just seized on a photo op. And for some reason, she was invited to make that walk from him walking in the airport to greeting his fellow activists at Newark. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You know you got to do it, right?
I'm not going to.
You're being summoned to do it. You got to say the line.
What?
You know? You got to say the line.
I don't know which line that is.
Check the chat.
Oh. Okay.
You'll get it when you check the chat.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not checking. I can't read it that fast and process.
I don't stand for that.
Anyway, Decensored News also reminded us again where we were for the last 100 days. How did this all start? Here's an incredible exchange where a deputy secretary of Homeland Security was asked why Mahmoud Khalil was arrested in the first place. And this is almost 5 minutes, so I'm not going to play it.
Why?
But just a reminder that when he was pressed by the judge, he could not give a single example of Khalil's alleged terrorist activity, his support of terrorism, or any criminal activity at all. Because Khalil's name was on a list that was handed to the White House by Beitar U.S., and they executed on behalf of Beitar U.S., and by extension, the Israel lobby. That's who Beitar represents, the Zionists of America. So Zionists of America had a list of all the Palestinian activists that had visas or green cards. I wonder how they got that. They handed it to the Trump administration and said, these people you might want to think about deporting. And Trump admin said, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And that's what they've been in the process of doing. And nobody has really stopped them except for the courts and a few activist lawyers and some judges that have been principled enough to say that what they're doing is wrong. They're shredding the Constitution. They're shredding the rights of immigrants that they are, that precedent has established that they are entitled to here. But for some reason, Trump admin just wants to strip them of all of that.
Rights. I have a right. You have no right. We have a right. They don't have a right. Folks, I hate to spoil your fun, but there's no such thing as rights, okay? They're imaginary. We made them up. Like the boogeyman.
Ooh. We made him up like the boogeyman. Ooh. I miss George Carlin.
What was the... Hold on. About that. I'll find it.
So, in the meantime, not only is the Trump administration taking L's on the Mahmoud Khalil front, and they still may end up deporting Mahmoud Khalil, but they never wanted him out of a detention facility in the United States able to speak to the media. They never wanted that to ever happen. And they lost that already. So, good for you. Now, on top of that, another judge is directing the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia in Tennessee. Now, remember, that's the dude that they had rendition to CCOT and then had him ordered home. Of course, his Senator Van Hollen went and met with him. Then they figured out a loophole to send him back to stand trial in Tennessee for some other crime that they accused him of and have him allegedly on tape for committing. All right. But according to this, the judge is now releasing Kilmar Abrego Garcia because of a lack of due process. We will give him the due process that he's granted, that everybody else deserves. These are the laws. This is what we all agreed to, what we all signed up for, what they told us. All right. The government's motion for detention is denied. A separate order will enter following hearing directing his release on conditions. Further, the U.S. is advised of its right to seek review of this order, so they're going to appeal. Try to keep him in jail even further. But now his release has also now been ordered. And we'll see if the government decides to come up with some other loophole to keep him imprisoned as well. Because the Trump admin loves imprisoning immigrants that are here under, legally. They were allowed in. They were given some kind of status under asylum and told to report for hearings and are even doing that. And they're being arrested at their hearings. They're being arrested at their job. They're being arrested at their kids' kindergarten graduation. We heard about that. I mean, fuck ICE. For sure. And not like the cold thing that you put in your drink, but Immigration's Customs Enforcement. Those guys. The Migras. All right. They are, and they are like, we've talked about Arturo Dominguez's articles about it. They're like a modern day Gestapo. They really are. I mean, they're not uniformed.
What country you from?
They're not uniformed. They're not showing badges half the time. They're covering up their faces, and they're not even in marked vehicles. And they're sweeping people off the streets without due process, putting them in prison without the right to a speedy trial. The only right this way, as George Carlin also famously said. All right.
He remembers.
So thank you, Anita, for being the latest subscriber to INNnewsletter.com. We put out a daily update there. We put out podcast episodes of of INN News. We're doing Jesse Jet American Tradition. I just moved American Tradition's podcast over to Substack, so you can watch all the previous shows commercial free, totally ad free over there. But yeah, support the media you want to see over at Cash App, $Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network, over at indienewsnow.com, which is our news website, and then also at the Substacks, INNnewsletter.com and IndieMediaToday.com, where we're still live right now. And we've had more than 60 people check in tonight so far at IndieMediaToday.com. I really appreciate everybody checking it out. Hope you stay. Hope you like what you're seeing. And hope you share it with other people so more people can actually see it. So thank you again.
Thank you.
IndieNewsNow.com, INNNewsletter.com, IndieMediaToday.com. So many places you can go in order to support independent media. Because we need it more than ever. Again, I love you all. And see you soon. I don't know when, but we'll see you soon. See you, everyone.
Bye. Have a great time.
Bye-bye.
No! We just fucking lost the stream!
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days, and I still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to say. And when they told you everything was safe, were you safe? Were you safe?